How's it going, everyone? Jared here from Gearhead Grind Garage, and today we're doing an update on the 1972 C10 / K5. I call it the K7.5 stubby truck. So I am taking apart the suspension, and I'm going to show you what I have for axles and kind of what the game plan is moving forward. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done an update. I've had a lot on my plate, and so let's get this going. Here we go. All right, so first off, taking apart the rear axle and suspension, everything. Honestly, I wasted a bunch of time on this. I didn't have a clear vision of what I wanted to do, and this project's been changing constantly with everything. So I had spent a bunch of time rebuilding the drum brakes on the 12-bolt rear axle, the stock one, and then I pulled apart the diff cover, and it turns out that the ring gear in there, and probably the pinion too, were shot. There was pieces of gear in there and everything, and I don't know, it just motivated me to just up it and go with a 1-ton axle. So I did that. I bought a 14-bolt full floater. Actually, funny enough, I have a 14-bolt semi-floater, so if any of you want a disc brake semi-float out of a 2005 Duramax, I believe, let me know. But I do have a 14-bolt full float for it with drum brakes, so I'm going to convert that to disc brake. It's going to get 488 gears and lots of cool parts in it. But for now, I'm disassembling the rear. So as you can see, I have pulled the rear leaf spring. So leaf spring is over there from the rear. I honestly haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. If I really want to do a trailing arm 4-link for this, just a short one that'll basically mount down by where that jack is and then come over, connect to the axle and all that. I think that'd be rad. But money wise, I think leaf spring would be better. So still trying to figure that out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But I did pull the bolts for the hangers and everything. This side was easy. And basically I rolled the axle out. You can probably see it out there if the light's not washing it out. But yeah, pulled this leaf spring, and on the other side, let me show you that real quick. So on this side, it was a little bit more of a pain. The front was fine, but the rear was fully seized on here. I did heat, penetrant, all that. So I finally just cut it off, and I'm gonna knock it out now. I just left it on there to show, you know, it is a pain, but we're able to get it out. So then I can drop this rear leaf spring down. If I do keep the rear leaves, I'm gonna do a shackle flip kit. So no matter what, this spring perch is coming off, whether I do leaves or coils. I'm also going to pull off this little bracket right here, and I'm going to pull off these stock bump stops, because no matter what, I'm probably going to get some hydraulic bump stops for the rear as well. But yeah, that's the plan for now. And in the front, and by the way, excuse this, I'm going to go through. I really need to clean up all my mess. It's a bunch of projects have accumulated and I haven't had time to clean. I have the stock Dana 44 6-lug, half-ton Dana 44 in the front. I did brand new brake calipers and pads on it. I cleaned it all up. All that was also a waste of time because I am going to take this out. I do have the brand new steering stabilizer for it. That's coming out as well. So this whole axle is going to come out. I'm going to pull the leaf springs for now because no matter what, they're going to get new bushings and everything. So gonna pull the leaves. I would really love to link the front and give it a lot more travel up here, but I do have a 3/4 ton Dana 44 for this, as well as a high steer / crossover steering kit that's really going to strengthen the front and give me a lot better steering feel, response, all that, without the gnarly bump steer. So yeah, I have the 3/4 ton Dana 44 that I need to go in this, which is also going to get 488 gears, grizzly locker or similar, and some other stuff like that. So I do need to build that axle. But for now, all this is going to come out. So all the work that I did, pulling the rear shock, all that stuff, kind of a waste of time, but it is what it is. And then, yep, install the new drop pitman arm, all that fun stuff in here to revamp the front. And then just as a reminder for anyone catching up, this truck is getting, or has now, a 6-liter LS in it. So it's a LQ9 motor with a cam. It's a Summit Stage 2 cam. and a Trailblazer SS manifold, drive-by cable, throttle body, and some other work done to it. And then I kind of came up with my own intake, all that. So I'll go over more detail about all this later on, or I may have already done that. But just wanted to give you an overview for those that are just seeing this truck for the first time. And then underneath, this truck does have a newly built 4L65 new exhaust that I just put together for it. I'm utilizing a Dirty Dingo's engine cross member for that LS swap. And then it has a freshly built, but needs a little bit more red paint, NP205, which has been converted to a twin stick for anyone that hasn't seen that video. Of course, got the new transfer case mounts on there and all that. So yeah, that's the bottom of the truck. All right, and then over in the other building, this is my axle collection that I have for this truck. So I initially thought I was going to use that 14-bolt semi-float, which I picked up, probably overpaid for it in retrospect. But it uses the 9.5-inch ring gear. I mean, honestly, for what I'm going to use this truck for, that would be plenty. And it does have the big old disc brakes on there with the parking brake and all that. So I thought I was going to go ahead with that. But then I got a killer deal when looking for the front axle I was going to use. I would love a Dana 60 Kingpin. Financially, they're insane right now. So for what I'm going to do with this truck right now, I'm going to use this Dana 44. I am going to truss it, and I was looking for intentionally the 8-lug version. So that's why I have a whole separate axle here, because I found the 8-lug version instead of the one I have. But yeah, it's going to be strengthened, trussed, chrome ollie axles, the new brake calipers off the other axle, front locker, all that fun stuff. So it should be pretty beefy once all said and done, and fairly good bang for the buck, and keeps the weight down over the Dana 60. Hopefully I don't have any issue breaking it. Also going to run the Yukon front hub lockers and other goodies for it. And the reason so let me film like this. So the reason I decided to go with just buying a whole new Dana 44 in the 3/4 ton model, the 8-lug, is because the parts for it, if you just want to convert the existing axle, one, the sidewall, supposedly, I haven't actually measured it, but from what I've read, a lot of the sidewalls on the axle tubes are thinner on the 1/2 ton version. Whether that's true or not, the 3/4 ton, no matter what, should have the 1/2 inch sidewall thickness. And then also the mounts for the brake calipers, super expensive if you just want to buy them. So if I was trying to convert the 6-lug axle to an 8-lug, just for the brake caliper mounts, it would be like $500, which is ridiculous for mounts. So I probably just would have taken the time to fab some up, and then I might still do that and then sell them and have another version on the market out there. But yeah, it was just worth my while. I got such a good deal on this axle, and then the guy actually threw in the rear axle too, which is the 14-bolt full float. It does have the drum brakes, so I do need to convert it. So let me show you that. So yeah, huge drum brakes on it. So this is a heavy axle, but is going to be converted to discs. That's going to save some weight. The full float, for those of you that don't know, although I'm sure most of you do, is killer, because if you happen to break an axle, wheeling, which would be gnarly, I'll probably break the front before I break the rear, but you can just pull the actual axle shaft out, accessing by just pulling these bolts here at the end and then sliding it out. So it's super easy to fix a broken axle shaft on these things. Plus they're really beefy. So you have a 10.5 inch ring gear in here, which is gnarly. And then also the front pinion bolts in right there, which is awesome. So it's really common to have like a front pinion support / guard in there. And then you can even go up and over and tie into the truss. So these things are super bulletproof. I mean, everyone in the 4x4 community knows about them. They're probably the most popular axle out there for a reason. There's a lot of them. They're not crazy expensive, and they're super strong. So hopefully that is a killer option for this truck. But yeah, basically making room for them. Gonna order the parts for all these, get them in, fully rebuild both the rear and the front axle, probably sell the semi-float over there, so if anyone's interested, let me know. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. Oh yeah, and one other thing, this just kind of shows where I went in the project from a truck that was just going to get running to a little bit bigger build. But I was going to do, so I had these brand new, never been on the road 35s that I picked up, 35, 12.5, 15s on steel rough country wheels. They were the least expensive but solid option. I picked those up, but now since I'm going with the 1-ton axles, those will not work. So I had a series of Facebook Marketplace deals. I picked up these steel 8-lug 8x6.5 wheels that are cool. Well, one, they were cheap, which is awesome, and then also, since they're steel, I can actually weld in beadlock ring and everything if I want to go that route, if I want to do full beadlocks. So it saved me a bunch of money potentially over going with full beadlocks that are factory made. And then I found a killer deal on these 37s. So they are used, but they're only like maybe 2 years old, a year and a half old, based off the timestamps. 37, 12.5, 17s. Because I also needed 17s to clear the giant discs that are going to go on the rear. So yeah, so, you know, pivoted. So I have some brand new Patagonia 35s on wheels, 6x6.5 bolt pattern for sale. 37s are going on. I didn't, you know, I would have been okay going 39s, but I got such a good deal on these tires I couldn't turn them down. I think I got all 4 of them for 300 bucks. So now I just need to find a spare, but they're solid tires. There's some pro comps and, you know, 85, 90% tread wear on there. So yeah, pretty rad. So anyway, thanks for checking in, everyone. Sorry for the background noise. It's recess and there's a school across the street from me, if you pick that up. But that's where I am on the truck for right now. Like I said, gonna get the axles, full suspension out and everything, rebuild the new ones, get them in. But yeah, let me know in the comments, you know, if I should go leaf spring or 4-link. If I do a 4-link, it's going to be a trailing arm setup with an upper link, triangulated upper link, and then probably some 16-inch travel coilovers. Obviously, I think that would be the most performant, but it's also a lot more expensive, and you know, who knows? So I know there's some killer leaf spring builds out there, so let me know what you guys think and what I should do on this truck. Given the short wheelbase, that is also a limitation on how much travel I can get out of it based off the spring length or the link length and all that, without, you know, with a really short axle, or not axle, a drive shaft in there as well. The front drive shaft is quite stubby for anyone that has a K5, but plenty of people do it. So yeah, let me know, and if you have any questions, hit me up, and then I'll give you guys an update in the next video on where I go from here. All right, see you, gearheads. Bye.